Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Oh, yeah. Not everybody is here, but we're going to begin. Please join together. I like this Tulasi plant right in front of me in the Zoom. Very nice, very healthy. Please join together. So we are going to offer our Puspanjali at the lotus feet of our Gurudev, Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya-Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shrapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Nitangsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Sri Varshavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripadaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Nama Adhurja Ujjala Premadda Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambar Sambodhe Padambujayate Namo Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Sakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumestam Nitesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te Namo Pancha Kalpa Taruvescha Kripa Sindhubhaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namo Indaye Tulasi Devaye Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sattavati Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. His mother Neha has two devotees who is going to express their gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada so we can nourish our spiritual emotion.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, we have two devotees today for submission of gratitude. These are Anastasia Argulis Mataji and Satya Devta Prabhuji. So they'll be
Okay,
speaking. Thank you.
please go ahead and begin. Mother Anastasia, you can begin with your expression.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. So Srila Prabhupada is a great example, showed us a great example of what it's like to show welfare, to sacrifice his life for the welfare of others. So his strong will of to follow his guru's instructions, besides all the difficulties that he had, changed life of millions, and we're also so fortunate to learn about him, and his pastimes are also very inspiring. And when I had an opportunity to live close to devotees at some point last year, I've noticed how these devotees knew to do so many things in the best way. And it also reminded me of the fact that Srila Prabhupada taught his disciples before, and these disciples taught other disciples. And that's why nowadays we have so many courses going on online, and we're able to learn about Krishna consciousness and real knowledge that is not just mundane knowledge that we were learning before. And even the fact that we were able even to distinguish that not everything that we learned before was so useful in our for us as souls. So I'm thankful for Srila Prabhupada that he gave us this opportunity to learn about who we are in reality and who is God and our relationship with him.
Very good. Thank you. This remind me of Mother's Govinda Dasi. Srila Prabhupada mentioned to her that now, no, I'm sorry, this was Mother Jamuna Devi, that now you have learned from me, and what are you going to do? She said, oh, I'm going to write it in the notebook and keep it whole life. Prabhupada said, it will go away from your heart. You have to transmit to somebody else, then it will stay with you. I hope everybody understanding that. Whatever you're learning about spiritual science, bhakti, try to share it. If you share it, it will stay with you, because it is not a stagnant. Bhakti is not a stagnant. Material world is a stagnant. You take rebirth, you forgot what happened last life. Everything, no connection. But spiritual world is dynamic, opposite to stagnant. So this is very nice. Mother Anastasia says that how Prabhupada taught his disciples, and they are teaching their disciple, and this way it's going and expressing and expanding. It's for our benefit, for Krishna's benefit. We have to share. Everybody must share. Otherwise, you will say, oh my God, I learned so many things a few years back, I don't remember anything. Because you never applied, you never shared or distributed. So please share. First person you share, the person you live with. In the house, talk to your spouse, children, what you learn. Talk to them again and again and again. Then you can share with your friends and other, and it can go slowly, slowly all over. But you must share. Very good. Now, Satya Devata Prabhu, please.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhu. My humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Because of his strong conviction to serve his Guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, he has taken a huge, enormous affair at his old age and went all the way to preach in the West. And that preaching has transformed across all over the world, and then also came back to India through his disciples. And I'm one of that fortunate person to be connected to my Siksha Guru, who is based here in south of India in Hyderabad, Leelananda Das, and who is a disciple of Radhanath Swami, and Radhanath Swami is the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So through the disciplic succession, I got introduced to the Bhakti Vriksha program happening here a couple of years ago. And this process has helped me to understand what is the purpose of life, understand also more about the devotion, especially the unconditional and unmotivated, the fundamental principles of devotion, not just the regular kind of devotion, which is happening everywhere else, which is always contaminated. So today, through Srila Prabhupada, through his books, through his disciples, in fact, this course which is happening, Harinama Chintamani, also is like a blessing coming from the Srila Prabhupada, that this time we are able to get access to such wonderful information from great souls like you, to understand the very complex scriptures made very, very simple. And this personally helped me a lot. And I pray once again at the holy feet of Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas in the Vaishnava Parampara to bless and allow me to continue in the devotional path and not get deviated and achieve towards the perfection of life. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Very nice. Wonderful submission, submissive, surrendering your soul or yourself in such a way. I can see you are internally benefited and you are expressing what you have got so much. Very nice. Wonderful. Thank you, both of you. So today I'm going to begin chapter 3. We're going to serve. I hope everybody had a chance to read or hear. First of all, what is pure name? This is a question every day. I want also you all to come up with some definition. What is pure name? Then what is not pure name will be easy. So today one description is given in Harinam Chintamani. The pure name means you chant with Sambandha Gyan. If you don't have a Sambandha Gyan, the relationship, knowledge about relationship, who God is, how Krishna is Supreme God, what is this material nature, and who am I? What is my relationship with Krishna? What is my relationship with this material nature? What is material nature relationship with Krishna and material nature relationship with me? These 6 questions, once you grasp it, grasp means you are seeing it, you are applying in your life, you have a Sambandha Gyan. That time your chanting will produce the result, what it promised. Otherwise, the ignorance will not produce just by uttering. Even though you are chanting, the purpose of taking shelter means this Sambandha Gyan has to be established in the heart. When we say we have a Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, they are all important, very important. What does that means? Means, am I getting clear, removing this cloud that's covering the sun, holy name? This is called self-examination. I cannot see. You can see where you are in your spiritual path. So I'm going to give a little, just a preview today's. The holy name is Krishna. What does it mean when we say Krishna is everything? In Bhagavatam, you can read 2.9.33, 4 sloka. This is the summary substance of entire Bhagavatam. It's a Chatusloki. The first thing Krishna says to Brahmaji, I alone existed in the beginning. I exist now, and I will exist in future. When you chant Krishna's name, who is Krishna? It is him alone existed. He exists, everything that we see, variety, everything is in him. And after this creation is over, it's only him exists. Anything which looks attractive to you, to each of you, if you do not see a connection with that Krishna, that is illusion, Maya. Maya means if you do not see that connection, then Krishna further revealed that Kevalastakam, right from the powerful Brahmaji to a blade of grass, everything is filled with Maya. Okay. Prabhupada gave one lecture, he said, the whole world is Maya. People have different conception. If I think this wall is Maya, right on in front of me, or my right side or front, this wall is Maya, and thinking this wall is Maya, if I hit my head against the wall, now Brahmaji said, Krishna said, this is Maya, but I walk through it, hurt my head. Is the pain real or it is also illusion? Can somebody answer me?
Pain, we feel it real, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Otherwise, I was going to say you can hit your head and just tell me how you, if it is illusion or real. Thank you, it is real. So try to understand this conception. When Prabhupada said everything is, this world is Maya, the things in this world are not unreal. What is unreal is that things alone will give us happiness. That is unreal. Illusion, wrong perception of object or wrong perception in the presence of stimuli, thinking a rope is snake, that is illusion. Rope is rope, snake is snake, but thinking rope as a snake is illusion. This we have to correct within us. What is hallucination? Perception in the absence of stimulus. In Bhagavad Gita, very nicely it explains Lord Krishna, Vasudevam Sarvamiti. People who understand these words, Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava, very rare. It means there are a level in which we move through. First level, what? There is no God. There are many gods. There is one God. I am God. It is deep down within us. Bhagavatam said only God exists. That is also there. Many verses are there. Idam hi vishwam bhagavan ivetaro jata. If you are familiar with the Bhagavatam, that verse is very popular. Idam hi vishwam. I am that universe, Krishna says. Only God exists. So we have our existence. What does that mean? Krishna says is only he exists. Means we are part of his existence. This is very important. Rupa Goswami Pad says when Krishna says I alone exist, I includes everything, everyone. God is not one being far away, disconnected from us. God does have a transcendental existence, but he is not a person in the ordinary sense. He can be present in the spiritual world. We all know right now, if you say, where is God? Well, he's in the spiritual world. But in Bhagavad Gita, recently I did, Aswatha Devata Prabhu was there, that we learned 1041, the Bhagavad Gita sloka. It says that Jajjat Vibhuti Matsattam Srimat Urjitam Evava. In that verse, it says that transcendental is God beyond the nature. But that verse says immense is God in the nature. This is, most of the religious has no clue. Only Krishna consciousness gives this such a vast. Just like I was talking yesterday with this gentleman Sunday feast. And it's very interesting. There's one girl started setting up a nice arati tray and doing puja. and she's from a Middle East. She's a Muslim born, and she's very dedicated. I was like very surprised. So then in a discussion, she said, what is Allah really means? I mean, I grew up, but I never really inquire. So Allah means one of the quality of Krishna. It's called greatness. Allahu Akbar, God is great. But we also understand Krishna says, Anoroniya Mahato Mahiyan. Krishna is smaller than smallest, bigger than biggest. When you say greatness, Allahu Akbar, God is great, it is not completely understood. It is only one quality of Krishna. It is one aspect of Krishna. God is great. So after discussing for a little while, she was like, wow, this is like all the Muslim has to become a Hare Krishnas. I say, well, they will come as Krishna directs them. We don't force anybody to become a devotee. Krishna has to direct them from, and they have to desire also, both. So God does have a transcendental existence, but he is not a person in an ordinary sense like you and me. He can be present in spiritual world, yet Goloko namni nijo dhamni talesha tasya. Prabhupada says that he comes down in a deity form. Not that Bhagavan is coming from Jaipur. This is a wrong conception. Because Jaipur, they makes the deity, you know, that's why I mentioned that. Not that Jaipur has a God producer machine or something. Now, God comes down, he appears when the devotees are ready to serve him. Even when Krishna descends to the world as a charioteer of Arjuna, it might appear he is occupying one small part of the universe. But when he decides to reveal his mystic potency, what did Arjuna see in the universal form? Remember? He is everything. He is everywhere. Even though he is with him in the chariot as a charioteer, simultaneously. We have to think like this. Then we can, our chanting, our Sambandha Gyan will be firmly established. Even when Krishna is in the universe is within him. You follow? When Krishna is in the universe also simultaneously within him, within his stomach. Krishna is everything means nothing is disconnected with him. Can you all remember this? When we say Krishna is everything means nothing is disconnected. And if you see something disconnected, that is Maya, illusion. Even our body, even your thinking, they are also Krishna's material energy or spiritual energy. We are Krishna's spiritual energy, this body is material energy. So we have a both combination. Our purpose is to spiritualize our body, our mind, then the journey is over. That time chanting will be pure. Sambandha Gyan has to revive. It's beginning from this chapter. The understanding that everything is Krishna, I am also part of Krishna. Always we should remember. So what is Krishna consciousness is doing to us? It fills the sense of emptiness in the heart. It fills. Like when Satsvarup Maharaj joined, he's the Western Bari in New York. He saw from far distance a sadhu, Buddhist monk. That time Buddhism was entering into America. So he became attracted to that and he became a Buddhist monk. He saw Prabhupada from far. He saw, oh, there is some brown color Buddhist monk also. So he came to Prabhupada and he stayed. And later on he found out he was not a Buddhist monk, he's a Hare Krishna. But of course, Hare Krishna was not very popular. So after the class, he said, can you teach me how I can become void, nothing? Prabhupada said, oh, you are nothing. You are talking. How can you say you are nothing when you are talking? You're thinking. So this idea was floating a lot. It still is floating in America, and we are trying to remove that. You remember Prabhupada's pranam mantra, it says, Nirvishesha Sunnavadi, Paschata Desha Tarine. These two things are most deadly poison within us. That's what causes loneliness, causes depression. This Sunnabad and Nirvishesbad has to be removed by the mercy of Prabhupada. So Bhakti Yoga, it fills our sense of emptiness, void in the heart. There is a sense of loneliness, pointlessness. Many people, when you become very close, they will reveal, if they're not devotee, that they feel sometime like that. When they face problem in life, many people vent. What is the point of worshiping the Lord? There are so many problems. Problems are frustrating. But so are pleasure. When you think, I want that, you do achieve your dream, you realize it was not a big deal. I saw in my life also. I thought $1 million is a big deal. When I got it, it was a big deal. It's not even a big deal. But before you become millionaire, wow, it's like a big deal. So what am I living here for? That question you must ask. Material life is frustrating at its worst when things goes wrong. Even when things go right, it is unfulfilling at best. You know, there is a one movie star, I won't say the name, long time back I did watch one movie, I'm being honest to you. And anyway, she's a very nice, now I heard she's chanting. Julie Robert, I don't know if you know any of you. Julia Robert, she's a famous actress in Hollywood, but she's chanting Hare Krishna. Somehow or other, very mysteriously. Madonna, she is also chanting Hare Krishna. So very interesting, very great personality. I mean, they're great in a sense, they are very popular. People adore them. When they're chanting Hare Krishna, is very giving positive to the other who are following them. She's very interesting. She said, fashion in ugliness changed every 6 months. I saw the newspaper headline. I still have it, that newspaper on top. This is such a good realization. The same thing that is initially attractive can later become repulsive. Process of bhakti is not meant to pray to God to get things in life, but it is meant to raise, please remember this, to raise our consciousness from material to spiritual. Beyond the material bad and material good. We should love Krishna for Krishna's sake. It does not imply that one has to live life where the focus is on decreasing expectation from God. We feel sometimes, oh, I don't want to ask Krishna for this. The focus should be instead of increasing expectation in the relationship with God. God is so attractive, Krishna is so attractive that remembering and serving him is so fulfilling that one does not clamor for other things. And we have taken the process, bhakti. Bhakti is a process that gives a result. Everybody knows that bhakti paraisha anubhava virakti annatra, this is from Bhagavatam 11th canto, is one of the important verses. We should remember that. Bhakti paraisha anubhava. Para means that Lord who is transcendental. Isha means Lord. Anubhav means experience. And Prabhupada quote this verse many times. We have to experience. Ask yourself, do you want more explanation? I asked this many times, this question. Do you want more Krishna explanation or Krishna experience? Ask yourself, what do you want? So this verse says, we need more Krishna experience than just Krishna explanation. One may have different reaction when you see the deities. To be honestly, somebody comes to temple, they may think like, oh, this is a nice statue, very well decorated statue. I know they think it's God. It's okay, it looks like a statue. But believe me, even this morning, we had a wonderful kirtan. Kirtan was so good. Temple was packed, even though we have pandemic, but Alachua is very restricted, but we have a wonderful time whole year. Kirtan was so good. I saw the devotee going like this, showing the hand to the Gaurnitai and deity. Oh my Lord, Hare Krishna. There is a relationship. Is it a statue or a person? These are the experience. I hope everybody understand this. This is real. It's no more statue. You express in front of the deity, and they show. I saw Prabhu's side, mother's side, everybody expressing, raise their hand, and they are almost like crying, jumping, dancing. They are offering to the deity like this. These are experience. When you see the deity in an atmosphere where the kirtan like this, experience enriches our devotional attitude. We consequently become detached with other things. We are no longer infatuated with other things. These things gives me pleasure. It is small, like a drop, but the pleasure of remembering Krishna is like the vast ocean. One Acharya says, now that I have come to chant Hare Krishna, I shall simply drink these waters of Hari. The more we relish glories of Krishna, the more we will become joyful. By nature, we are egocentric. Please ask yourself, aren't you? Be honest. We are egocentric by nature. We try to prove how great I am or we are. When you form a relationship with Krishna, the focus shifts from me or from us to Krishna. This is important. You need to focus. We need to focus on Krishna. When you focus on Krishna, then our egocentric importance of me shifted to Krishna. I see in my life, I'm not bragging about, I'm not advanced devotee, I'm still fallen, but I'm trying, I'm praying the Lord. And it works, this process works. Question may rise, you may think, other day one brahmachari asked, I don't know if he's here, he said that, how do you know if we are advancing? Well, when we are happy listening to the glories of Krishna, that is one symptom, Prabhupada says. And an example given, parents may feel happy when they are praised, but they also feel happy when someone praises their kids. You ever had an experience? Oh, your children are so nice, wonderful. It makes the parents happy. The more we hear of Krishna, the more we love. When we chant the holy name, the philosophical understanding of what we are doing will enable further absorption. Everybody understanding why we are doing Harinam Chintamani? So that you can absorb in Krishna. Otherwise, every few minutes it goes away, here, there, when you chant. All this unnecessary thought comes. So philosophically, we have to grasp this Sambandha Gyan. Then we can absorb. The pure devotee will stay on the spiritual platform because they love Krishna. But I am a sadhaka, I'm a practitioner. Where am I? It is not our priti, it is not our feeling, it is our intelligence. Sometimes we feel very good when we are chanting. Hearing kirtan, sometimes we feel bored. Look forward to when chanting and kirtan will be over. Oh gosh, 5 more minutes. Okay, let's finish the last rounds. Maybe you all don't do that, but from a practical point, I saw myself. Does this has to be 1008 beats? Can it be 108 beats? Pull them out, ask them, will this round get over? This happens because the mind is flickering. Prabhus and mothers, mind is flickering. If we leave our process of bhakti to our feeling alone, then we will not be steady. I don't know if I discussed this, that bhakti sustain, please write it down boldly. Bhakti sustained not by tribulation, not by mental satisfaction. It is by devotion, commitment, determination. Any one of you are married? In your marriage life, how do you sustain life? Is the commitment and the effort you do. Not like every day you are happy in the relationship. Be honest to yourself. But you make a commitment. And you endeavor for it. We have to keep that way until we achieve that prema. Then prema will guide us. Rupa Goswami Pad says that. That happens, and guarantee it will happen. Bhakti to our feelings alone, then we will not be steady. Believe me, mothers and prabhus. If we base it on our buddhi, intelligence, we will be steady. Vivek buddhi. Vivek buddhi means diligent. Steady process of bhakti awakens gradually our attraction to Krishna. When we chant, there may be hundreds other things appear in your mind, but you have to talk to your mind. Now is time for Krishna. There are other obligations. I serve Krishna by chanting now. Later, I serve Krishna by working. Like this, you have to keep on going. Pure devotion does not mean we are negligent or irresponsible. It means whatever we are doing, do it wholeheartedly and connect with Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, we see that Krishna says absolute truth, from whom everything has come, that everything is pervaded by him, that Lord can be worshipped by your work. In that way, one can attain pure devotion. Just to ask a question to you, that what is the difference between detachment and irresponsibility? This is relevant today with this chapter. Student does not study for exam if. Why are you not studying? The student may say, I'm detached. Is that detachment or irresponsibility? Can somebody answer me? Irresponsibility. Very good. After we done the exam, now say that student finished the exam, but he is so worried. Oh, will I get good marks? Attachment makes we keep thinking of things more and more. Even we have no control over it to come out. Is the student has any control how the teacher will grade him? Yes, no? No control. But action is already done. You are so caught up that it's hard to move on the next task. You're chanting Hare Krishna but thinking something else. Cannot divert. Harinama Chintamani, hammer those points. So I'll end here. To worship Krishna, you don't need to go somewhere to chant. Stay where you are. There is no discrimination. While everything comes from Krishna, not everything takes us to Krishna. This is the important point. Now, for an example, say you hear a sweet devotional music. The melody reminds you of Krishna. You might listen to Bollywood song, but that song also has a melody, but that song does not take you to Krishna. That discrimination you have to have always. So I need 2 volunteers to start chapter 3.
I can read, Prabhu.
Who did not read yet?
Okay.
Someone?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay, please go ahead. And one more person be standby. Thank you.
Okay. So this is chapter 3, Namabhas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully lifted Haridas up with his own hands and said, "Listen, Haridas, to my words. Now explain in detail the meaning of Namabhas. If one thoroughly understands Namabhas, one's chanting of the holy name will become pure. Then, by the power of that pure chanting, he will end his material existence. The holy name, like the sun, dispels the darkness of illusion. However, sometimes clouds or mist cover the sun from the viewer so that only a portion of light comes through. In the same way, when ignorance and anarthas predominate, the sun of the holy name becomes covered and only a portion of the full effect of the holy name is felt. Therefore, in some cases, the holy name will appear in full force in the heart of the chanter, but in other cases, clouds of ignorance and anarthas will minimize the effect of the name on the chanter. What is ignorance? Ignorance is of three types. If one does not know the true spiritual nature of the holy name which one has accepted, this ignorance of the name, like mist, leads one into darkness. Secondly, a person ignorant that Krishna is the Supreme Lord will take to worship of the demigods and the path of material piety. Thirdly, one who is ignorant of the transcendental nature of his own self as an infinitesimal part of Krishna and his world takes shelter of the world of impermanence and illusion. Thus, he will remain eternally in ignorance. When the Lord had
One
finished,
second, Mata. I want everybody to line up or underline these three ignorance. I'm going to ask you the question. What are the three ignorance? If you do not focus on it, you will just miss it. It is there in the heart. She just read. First ignorance was, she didn't read like there is three ignorance, but I counted.
Spiritual
First
nature of
ignorance is true spiritual nature of the holy name. We do not know the true spiritual nature of the holy name. Second,
Krishna is the Supreme Lord.
not knowing Krishna's supremacy, we go take shelter on demigods or others. What is your matter, Prabhu? Oh, I'm going through some tough time. Take shelter also, Krishna, and try to get out. No, I need to go to psychologists. I need to go to this, that, this. They don't take shelter of Krishna. And taking shelter of Krishna doesn't mean, if you have a bodily sickness, taking shelter of Krishna doesn't mean you chant and the blood is coming out, it will be okay. No. Taking shelter means you chant, depend on Krishna, go to doctor, take care of the physical things. At the same time, have the blessing of the seniors also, just like a Mother Josuda did, or she does eternally. All the Brajavashi does. Something happened to Krishna, what do? They pray to Narayan. They engage the Brahmanas to counter the bad evil. So we have to lead our life very sattik. We chant Krishna's name. At the same time, whatever family needs or bodily needs, we need to provide. So this is a very nice second point. Third point, that identity of the self. That Krishna is eternal, I am eternal. She just read as an infinitesimal part of Krishna and his world. How many of you every day, everything you see is Krishna's? To be honestly, I was not. Recently, just few years, I started everything that I'm thinking or seeing, trying to connect is Krishna's Maya. And that is required. Otherwise, ignorance will stay. Pure name will not come and Krishna Prem will not come. Namabhas will never give you Krishna Prem, period. But Namavas has a lot of good things. At least soon we will get. Okay, mother, please go on.
When the Lord had finished, Haridas said, "Today I am most fortunate, for from my mouth the Supreme Lord Himself, Sri Chaitanya, will hear about the holy name." Haridas first explained about ignorance. Knowledge means knowing Krishna is the Lord, that the living entities are His servants, and that the material world is a non conscious gross manifestation or byproduct of the Lord. The person who does not know clearly the nature of these principles and their relationship lives under the shadow of ignorance. This is one cause of Namabhas, or covering of the sun of the pure holy name, by which its full effects can't be felt. Actually, the mist of ignorance simply covers the individual living entity's eye in a localized position. Just as the sun becomes invisible only from the relative position of the individual under the cloud, but is never really covered. So the holy name is never covered, for it is non different from Krishna and eternally transcendental and pure. The full effects are diminished for those people who have over their eyes the cloud of anarthas and the mist of ignorance. What are anarthas? These are classified as thirst for material objects, asat trishna, miserliness of the heart, hriday dorbalya, and offense, aprad. The category of thirst for material objects is divided thus: craving for material objects in this world, craving for heavenly sense pleasures in the next life, desire for mystic yoga powers, and the desire for liberation in Brahman. Weakness of heart may be analyzed as attachment to trifling things unrelated to Krishna, deceit, envy of someone else's progress, and longing for position and fame. Offense may be divided into offenses to the holy name, offenses to Krishna himself, seva prad, offenses to Krishna's devotees, and offenses to other living entities. By these anarthas, the influence of the holy name becomes obstructed, and the full transcendental nature of the name is not manifested. The living entity will continue under the shadow of Namabhas as long as he is ignorant of Sambandh Tattva, the basic facts concerning the Jiva, God, and the material nature, and their mutual relationship. However, when the serious student takes shelter of a bona fide guru, by force of his effective spiritual practice, he can remove the obstructions blocking the sun of the holy name. When the clouds and mist go away, the brilliant sun of the name becomes visible and bestows upon the devotee the treasure of love of God. After the bona fide guru gives Sambandh Gyan, he instructs the disciple on the practice of cultivating the holy name, sadhana bhakti. This is called abhidya or process. By this specific process, the name will show its influence and drive out the anarthas. Finally, the jiva achieves the goal of life, love of God, and in that position, he continues his performance of chanting the holy name in full spiritual bliss, prema. The ignorance of correct knowledge is explained as follows. The living entity takes shelter of the bona fide guru and with genuine faith receives the correct knowledge about Krishna, the spirit, soul, material nature, and the relationship of the three according to scripture. Krishna is the eternal Lord, and the living entities are his eternal servants, linked to the Lord by the bond of love, prema. This relationship of Jiva to God in Prema Bhakti is also eternal. This is the living entity's constitutional nature which has only to be uncovered. However, when the Jiva forgets that he is the eternal servant of Krishna, he comes into the material world looking for happiness. But this universe of illusion is a prison house for the Jivas, acting as the remedial or reformatory process by punishing the Jivas for turning away from Krishna. The material world is meant as a place of purification. By the mercy of the pure Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, if the Jiva takes up Krishna's name with correct knowledge of Sambandh, he will certainly attain the great treasure of Prema, the perfectional activity of the living entity. At that time, even liberation of merging into the Lord's effulgence becomes detestable. But as long as the transcendental knowledge of Sambandh is not accepted, The anarthas and ignorance must remain, and the person will continue on the platform of Namabhas. Though the person chants, the effect is limited. However, even chanting in the Namabhas stage is considered to be very auspicious. It is considered the chief of pious activities, for by the accumulation of Namabhas activity, one eventually gains faith to accept devotional service properly. Namabhas is considered higher than the activities of yoga, sacrifice, varnashram rules, austerities, etc., because it will lead to the path of pure bhakti. The processes of yoga, austerities, etc., unless mixed with some activities of bhakti, will never lead to bhakti. What are the effects of chanting in Namabhas? By chanting in Namabhas, all sinful effects are destroyed and one can attain liberation from the material world. All the effects of Kali Yuga are overcome. By chanting at this stage, all anxieties will go and peace can be obtained. Evil influences of ghosts, demons, spirits, and unfavorable planets are also nullified. Even the residents of hellish planets can achieve liberation by chanting in Namabhas. For Namabhas destroys the effects of sinful activities already committed, prarabdha karma. For these reasons, Namabhas is even more powerful than the Vedas and all holy places. It surpasses all the materialistic pious activities of Karma Kand. Because the holy name is invested with all Krishna's transcendental energies, even by chanting in Namabhas, one can attain the goals of dharma, earth, calm, and moksha, the cherished aims of the Varnashram system. This chanting can give one the position of happiness in the material universe. It is the only resort for the helpless. One can go up to the border of Vaikuntha planets by this chanting. Scriptures recommend the name as the process for Kali Yuga in particular.
Very good.
Namabhas.
Hold on, mother. Very nice. You are very well reader.
Thank you,
So
Prabhuji.
there is a question. I found there is a 11 results of chanting Namavas. We are not interested to chant in Namavas, but we should be aware. Otherwise, when those result comes, we may think this is the pure devotional or pure chanting's result. Before that, she read all the way. Very nice. I want to just, I'll share this chart in your, what do you call, WhatsApp group. There are 4 anarthas from her reading. I don't know if you realize. Try to keep those, I mean, you can see that chart. And there are category of 4 material object deep down in your heart you want. You may not say it in front of public because it will be shame. I challenged in a group of devotee one time. I said, if tomorrow a news comes that there is another planet where we don't have to die immediately, we can live for 500 years and then go back home. But while you're living, you will have no sickness, you will have a wonderful lifetime and you can just do your sadhana. How many of you are willing to go? Everybody raise their hand. So deep down in our heart, we do have some interest to taste, experience this material sense enjoyment. We do. You have to be honest. So there is 4 category of material enjoyment deep down in your heart. She just read. There is a 4 weakness of the heart. And there is a 4 offenses are divided into 4 category. Offenses to the holy name, offenses to Krishna Nam, offenses to Krishna devotee, offenses to other living entity. This is what this chart is. We just put it yesterday like this, just to, so in one sense, you can see it right there and there. You know what I would do if I was you, this is just my suggestion, you don't have to do it. I generally keep it in my bedroom. When I wake up, I look at it. And when I go to sleep, I think about it. And that's how I memorize, and it scares me. I don't want to be part of this. But you cannot have a pure name with 3 things. Namabhas, Namaparad, and this anarthas. Or Namaparad is already within this. These three things has to be completely out of you. Now you may see like, oh my God, this is like a big mountain above my head. No, it's not. Yes, it can be big mountain, but by the shelter of Guru Krishna, it can be as if like a little piece of straw you can throw it. So this is very important. And also with the Namabhas, there are 11 results. I hope you all picked up from her reading. First thing she read, chanting Namabhas, it destroy all the sinful result. You know sinful result? You may be very pious man, nothing you're doing wrong. All of a sudden, you have a little headache. It's the result of sin somewhere. You have no problem, everything is fine, but you feel little restless. It's from the sin. So Namabhas is very powerful. It destroys the effect of the sin. Is Namabhas literally removed. Second, you can attain liberation from the material world. You can be out of three modes. Third, in Kali Yuga, there is a whole bunch of list. I don't want to read it because it scares. That what can happen, you're going to experience in the after 10,000 years. This is be serious. You have to sell your children to another family so they can eat your children, and they will sell their children to you so you can eat, because you will feel guilty to eat your own children. How horrible that society will become. Just like 5,000 years back, they heard that they will sell cow meat in the shop. Just by hearing this, all the sages fainted. Now I go to the public, believe me, grocery store. I see the beef meats they sell. I don't faint. It doesn't even bother. And I'm thinking like how my consciousness is so thick, so sinful, that I don't see the mother cows being sold in a package. It doesn't bother. But the sages, 88,000 sages, they fainted just by hearing this. So it's degrading, so degraded that you will sell your children to be eaten by others. You will not feel anything wrong. Right now you will feel wrong because you are in a golden age. But after 10,000 years, how degraded. I literally made one list one time, as many information. It's horrible. So the Kali Yuga influence effect will disappear from Namabhas. Fourth, the anxiety, wariness disappears. Then she read, peace can be obtained. Wow. 6, evil influence of ghost, demon, spirit. Do you know what I'm talking? Srila Prabhupada explains. I was doing arati the other day in my house. I have a small altar. And a squirrel just jumping on the metal roof for no reason. This is called ghost. Prabhupada said that the ghost, they don't like this Krishna consciousness. You're driving, all of a sudden, ghost attack animal and coming in the middle of the road, going slowly, and everybody stop. Oh, we need to protect the animal. Are Baba, why this animal all of a sudden coming on the road? It's a ghost. They like to be intervened in our life. We don't see them. But when you chant Namabhas, this disappear. Unfavorable planets. Those who are astrologer, you can ask them. They will tell you, oh, you'll go through these, all 27 planet. We are under 27 nakshatra. And this will disappear. So many things. Number 8, resident of hellish planet even will get through the Namabhas. Well, we have to go to hell in order to tell them. But that's different. I don't think. So anyway, this thing will disappear. Number 9, that Namabhas will take away dharma, artha, will give you dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The chanting, number 10, chanting can give you position of happiness in the material universe. If that is what you're looking for, I hope not. Number 11, you can go up to the border of Vaikuntha. This question I purposely put it in MCQ, end of the class. Border means you cannot cross. You cannot go to Vaikuntha with Namavas. You can go up to the border. Okay. So we have a next section is two types of Namavas. Who else is reading? Can finish it. Someone else?
I can read, Prabhu. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Go ahead.
Because the holy name is invested with all Krishna's transcendental energies, even by chanting in Namabhas, one can attain the goals of Dharma, Arth, Kam, and Moksha, the cherished aims of the Varnashram system. This chanting can give one the position of happiness in the material universe. It is the only resort for the helpless. One can go up to the borders of Vaikuntha planets by this chanting. Scriptures recommend the name as the process of Kali Yuga in particular. I repeated this para. Namabhas as unintentional pious activities may be classed into four types: Sanket, Parihas, Stobh, and Hela. Chanting in Sanket or indirectly means that one chants the name of Vishnu or Krishna with a specific material conception, or chants the holy name unintentionally while thinking of some other objects with the same sound. An example of the first type is Ajamila, who called the name of his son, who happened to be named Narayana. He chanted the name of Vishnu but with the intention of calling his son. Still, he was saved from the Yamadutas and eventually attained Vaikuntha. An example of the second type of Sanket is the Yavana, who exclaims Haram when dying, because the syllables Ha and Ram are present, forming a name of the Lord. Accidentally, that person attains liberation. Because this type of Nama Bhasha is the least offensive, the power of the holy name is intact to a large degree. One who utters the name of the Lord in parihas, a joking mood, such as Jarasandh, also crosses over the material world. Uttering the name in stobh or derision, as Sishupala did, can also cut the chains of material existence. Uttering the name in hail or disregard without attention also brings benefit. The Mlechas attain liberation by all these types of Nama Bhasha. These types of Nama Bhasha, coincidence, jest, derision, and disregard, being without real faith in Krishna, are situated on the lower border of Nama Bhasha. On the other hand, if one has genuine faith in Krishna and takes to the holy name while anarthas are still present, that stage is called Shraddha Namabhash. Since even by chanting in Namabhash, without faith, one can attain liberation. How can one describe the results of chanting in a Namabhasa with faith? By chanting in a Namabhasa, one can get everything except prema. If one gets to the point of Shraddha Namabhas, quickly the anarthas will go and the pure name will be revealed. Chanting the pure name, Shuddha Nam, one will certainly get prema very quickly. It may be concluded therefore that Namabhasa itself cannot give Krishna prema, but by progressing from this stage to the stage of Shuddha Nama, by means of following rules of sadhana as laid down by the Guru, one can get love of God. Thus, provided one does not commit Nam Aparadh, Nam Bhash is praiseworthy. It is considered unlimited times better than Karma or Gyan, because a person with such Nam Bhasha will eventually get faith, and that seed of faith will then develop into attraction and taste for Krishna, which will lead to the stage of Shuddha Nam and then Prema. Abhas means a faint light or indirect image. It is of two types, reflected light and obstructed light. Similarly, these are two types of faith: faith, reflected or distorted faith, and shadow or partial faith. From partial faith comes dim nama bhasha, which eventually develop into the pure name and love of God. This is classed as actual nama bhasha. Just as clouds obstruct the full brilliance of the sun, so the clouds of anarthas and the mist of ignorance in the jiva's heart allow only a faint light of the name to enter. Through though many having the opportunity to take pure faith, other living entities take a distorted faith, which is compared to the light reflected from water. The light is broken and the image not intact. When people with distorted faith receive the holy name, the name that they take is also distorted. Such people are characterized by deeply rooted desire for enjoyment and liberation. To the extent that they strive day and night to fulfill their desires for enjoyment and liberation. Because such people may use the name, they may appear to have faith in the name, but this is not actual faith. If one takes to the name with that faith, no matter how long one continues, one will not progress to purification, but will remain at the same perverted stage continually. Instead, such practice usually leads to Mayavad mentality, and finally, one becomes a cheater. Such a person thinks that the holy name is simply a mean to a higher end, and by such mentality, the glory and power of the name becomes lost. The only result is offense. Here is the difference between real Nama Bhasha, where due to obstruction, the effects of the name are felt faintly, and distorted Nama Bhasha. In real Nama Bhasha, many anarthas may be generated out of ignorance and weakness of heart, but all these effects can be cleared by continued chanting of the name. However, in distorted Nam Bhasha born from cheating knowledge, offenses simply increase. This is not called a Nam Bhasha, but Nam Aparad. The Mayavadis consider Krishna, his name, form, Leela, and qualities to be false and perishable. On the ground, they will never receive love of God, for such a path leads in the opposite direction from the path of devotional service or bhakti. Thus, there can be no real compromise between the two paths. The Mayavad philosophy is considered the enemy of bhakti, and its followers are considered the greatest offenders. Actually, the holy name never comes from the mouths of these people. For although the syllables may be heard, the holy name with all its transcendental potency does not reside there. The Mayavadi chanting the name in this way simply goes to hell because he thinks that the name is temporary and material. While chanting the name, the Mayavadi desires enjoyment and liberation, and by being so deceptive and chanting with motivation, he receives only pain for all his troubles. If by the mercy of the devotees he can give up the aspiration for bhakti and mukti and accept this position as servant of Krishna, being repentant and obedient, he can receive the real name and realize actual knowledge of Sambandh Gyan. Then, by constantly chanting the name, tears will come to his eyes, the mercy inherent in the name will come, and his true nature, Prema Bhakti, will become manifest. But the Mayavadi who holds that both Krishna and the position of the Jiva as Krishna's servant are temporary and imaginary, is an offender against the name and dwells in the deep hole of misfortune. Since the name is a desire tree, it gives the Mayavadi his desire of merging into the Lord's effulgence. Of the five types of liberation, Sayuj or meaning gives relief from the pains of the material ocean, but extinguishes one's own identity as well. Illusion men thinking there will be happiness in that state receive only this shadow of happiness. For in that state, forgetting Krishna's completely, they cannot obtain service in eternal bliss and knowledge, which is the perfection of life. If one has no bhakti, no love for Krishna, no constant faith and conviction in Krishna, how can one attain real eternal happiness? In summary, one who is at the stage of Nama Bhasha does not accept the Mayavadi philosophy, nor is his heart contaminated or weakened by its influence. The full glory of the sun is not visible when covered by clouds, but when the clouds are removed, the sun shines in full glory. Just in this manner, when a person receives knowledge of the actual nature of the name by the mercy of the Guru, When the ignorance and anarthas causing Nama Bhasha are dissipated by Sambandh Gyan and sadhana of proper chanting, that Nama Bhash can be transformed into Shuddha Nam, which stage one will receive the full brilliance of the name in the forms of prema. Therefore, whoever carefully avoids the company and influence of Mayavadis, takes shelter of the pure name, and serves out of love will become fully satisfied in full perfection. That is the Lord's instruction. Whoever accepts this instruction is a fortunate soul, and whoever rejects it is a rascal who will not be delivered for 100 million births. To state it in another way, one should simply give up bad association and take shelter of Lord Chaitanya lotus feet other than Mahaprabhu's feet, other than his mercy, there is no way. Thus did Haridas Thakur conclude his explanation of Namabhas. One who takes shelter at the two lotus feet of Haridas will sing incessantly his glorification of the name entitled Harinam Chintamani.
Very good. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. So I hope everybody understood that our connection comes best by a combination of commitment and contentment. And we have to be very careful. I'll send you this Anartha chart. I think I did already. And then you can print it out and look at it. And if you have any question, we can discuss on Wednesday. Hare Krishna. Braj Prem Prabhu, can you mute please your side?
Yes, sorry.
Is there any question, reflection?
Yes. Prabhuji, one reflection and one question I have to ask. The reflection is, Prabhu, after reading Haridas Thakur's writing, it has given me the puzzle of my life question. It has answered my life question, basically. It's an answer for the life. That's the reflection, Prabhu. And question I have is, one thing we read often is Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. So I really don't understand its meaning fully, Prabhu. Like how I think is like we are Jivas, Atma. Within our Atma, there is Paramatma, Super Soul. Krishna is sitting there. And he is just observing us. He doesn't interfere with the Prakriti, whichever way the body is going. So we feel pain and pleasure, Prabhu, right? Atma is feeling that. So how to understand in this context, this Krishna is the enjoyer of everything?
You have children, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, 2.
Okay. Is there an age difference much?
So the first one is Prabhu 9 years, his name is Krishna Chaitanya, and the second is 3 years, his name is Govinda.
Oh, it's little, very far, 6 years difference. Sometime you'll see that they're playing with the toys, and some other, I mean, in my own practical experience, I saw the oldest child was playing with the batsman, and batsman wing broke, and he's accusing the younger, you broke it. And the younger saying, no, I did not break it. And they're kind of like a emotional, literally serious, just like a, breaking a house or something. And one started crying, another started, it's your fault, you broke your own toy. I was like, and I was observing from little far, wow, what can we do? So mother came and says, we'll buy another batsman, don't worry, don't say, really? Okay, I feel better. Okay, now apologize to your brother, say you're sorry, you should not accuse him for not doing, he didn't do it. Okay, I'm sorry, whatever. No, it's not whatever, you really don't mean. So after a little way, you see, in one sense, mother is enjoying it. The children are active, they're playing. At the same time, mother is also seeing that this emotion between them is a kind of a conflict interest, but then she reconciled it because she cannot trace it who really broke the wing, but she said she will replace it with something. So Krishna is enjoying in a sense that he's not enjoying actually our plaguing, but he knows that we are eternal. We come from him. And he also does not want to intervene in our free will. He wants to see how we go in a journey up, down. Demigod, hellish messenger, the emotion plays, and eventually there will be a time that we'll turn back towards him. And then we'll start talking to him about the journey, how it was. And he will pay all the attention to realize that how much struggle you went through to come back to him.
Beautiful, Prabhu.
And Krishna actually will throw a big party for you when you arrive in Golok Vrindavan. And he will point out every details in your life, what he did. You remember there was a Zoom classes, and in the Zoom classes, it explained that you should not become Mayavadi, but still you didn't pay attention. You say, yeah, I'll chant when I'm old, not right now. Right now I have to maintain myself, you know. You come up with all this idea, even though I was there to maintain. I knew what you needed, but you wanted to do on your own. I was there. And then you'll feel like, oh my God, you were there. Yeah. Krishna told Gop Kumar, who sent you that Guru, Jayanta? Oh, that was you. Said, yes. You think you have two children. How do you see that they are children? By you? You made them, you created them. It's Krishna. Try to see everything, how Krishna is trying, arranging you to come back home. The whole journey of coming back to Krishna is the most wonderful journey. But while we are struggling in the material world, it looks like not wonderful. As a father, will it bother you if two child is arguing for something, no reason? Yes and no. You know, this is a silly things they're playing with the toys. But they take it is very serious. But to you, it's not that serious. It's just a toy. It's not like killing some soul or something. But you like children, like when one of your child, if ever gets sick, I hope they will never get sick, and you're taking the medicine and say, Daddy, I took these 2 pills yesterday, I'll take it today again, I want to get out of fever. How you feel? You feel joy, isn't? Why you feel happy? The child is still sick. No, because child is taking the medicine to come back as a normalcy. When you see the children are playing normal, it makes you happy. But when they're sick, do you feel happy? No. But when you're taking the prasadam without offering to Krishna, you don't want to eat, it gives pleasure to Krishna. He feels very happy. Wow, this family really only eating prasadam, my prasadam. These people are interested to hear about me. They join in the Harinama Chintamani seminar. They want to chant. They want to come back home. Krishna is dancing in Golok Vrindavan. That Golok Vrindavan in your heart. And when you inner connect, you will see that this journey is so joyful. But we have to be introspective, and inner connection will realize that how joyful Krishna is, seeing that we are coming back. Each of you are coming back. You know, your wife, you and your two children, fourth soul is coming back. Krishna is dancing, really heavy dancing. That four souls are coming back. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, every time a soul hear about Krishna and pays little attention, Krishna all of a sudden dance. So it is, Krishna is enjoying in that sense.
Beautiful.
But then when you finally come, arrive in Golok Vrindavan, he'll throw a party.
Beautiful.
Such a party that you never had any experience and you'll forget everything about material world. And you'll never leave him. So we're looking forward. Is that helps you?
Prabhu, this is immense. It's deep. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, I have two questions, Prabhuji. I don't know how much time we have. Prabhuji, here, effect of chanting in the Nama bus, there are 11 things you explained. In that one, there is one thing called liberation from material world. Of course, that is not taking you to the Vaikuntha planet, but I wanted to understand in a brief way, what is liberation from the material world? Because liberation from material world means you are not into the birth, death, old age, that life cycle, right, Prabhu? Or
Correct, correct. You will be out of three modes. You will be still in South Indian human body. You will not die. Don't think that way. You will not die. But within you, like Prabhupada gave an example of a coconut. I'm sure in South India they have coconut.
Yes.
In a dry coconut, the shell is separating from the outer covering.
Yes, yes.
But it's still intact. Similarly, the soul inside your body, this body, will be completely out of the three modes.
Oh, so
But still will be in India or wherever you are in Hyderabad, and you will act the way you are acting. But you are not attached to the three modes activity.
So this is a stage which will happen while we are still alive.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it's called Jivan Mukta.
Jivan Mukta.
Yeah.
Prabhu,
Iha
second-
jasya hare dasya karmana manasa gira nikilasya upavastasu jivan mukta sauchate. That verse, Rupa Goswami Pada explains what is Jivan Mukta. Generally, there are broadly three ways in which we can understand the various stages in chanting. Now, today we understood little bit of Namabhas. I hope, I'm sorry, I take long time probably to express, but I hope you read this chapter again, and also that chart will help you a lot. So crossing the, I didn't show you. Okay, tomorrow I'll show you. There is a material world and spiritual world, and in the middle, there's a Shiva planet. And Shiva planet, there's a three concept of Shiva. One is Vishnu Tattva Shiva, one is Rudra Tattva Shiva, and the middle is Shambhu Tattva Shiva. Shambhu Tattva Shiva, where the border between spiritual and material. Shambhu Tattva is not a material world. It says Goloka Namni Nijadhamni Talesha Tasya Devi Mahesha Haridham Eshu Teshu Teshu. Below Golok is Haridham, below Haridham is Mahesh Dham. Below Mahesh Dham is Devi Dham. Devi Dham means material world. So between Vaikuntha and material world, there is a Shiva planet. So your highest destination with Namabhas is up to that. Shiva planet has a two layer. One is Shiva himself lives there with his family, Ganesh, Kartik. They are not in the spiritual Vaikuntha, but they are not in the material world. And the lower is where all these people get killed by the Vishnu, demons and others. They merge into that. Or Gyani, they also merge into that. So this realm has a very mystical. The problem, there is some problem. Problem is, sometimes Brahmananda can also trap you. There is a pleasure, but it is not ultimate pleasure. There is a happiness. If you deep down think in, I don't mean to attack anybody, if you really deep down think deeply in your family life, it is the sex desire keeps people go on. If they did not enjoy the sex, finish. The family life has no value. It's like a lingering hook, fishing hook. Similarly, Brahmananda also has a fishing hook. It's higher than sex desire, much higher. But it is not even a 1 trillion. No, how did Prabhupada translate? There is a verse, Brahmananda bhavedesha cheta prarartha gunikrita naitam bhakti sukham bodhe paramanna tullam api. Rupa Goswami Pad gives that verse that the Vaikuntha or Sevananda compared to Brahmananda. If you multiply Brahmananda with 1,000 trillion, now in my calculator it does not multiply, so I don't know what is 1,000 trillion means, but it's an idea to me. 1,000 trillion, then even you cannot understand how higher this Shivananda in spiritual world. Soul needs that. Soul wants that. So Brahmananda is another hook. It is a scary because there is some pleasure, much more than this material sense enjoyment, and that pleasure can also keep track. But eventually you will be disturbed because you have a senses, and there is no function of the senses in Brahmananda. And you want more higher enjoyment. That's why Mahaprabhu says, Anandam ambudi vardhanam pratipadam purna amrita shadanam. You can enjoy in spiritual life every moment like a never-end ocean of happiness. So it's individual choice. But I request you, because you all are joined, be fearful to that. You know how fearful this is, I tell you. Even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he asked one disciple, very well learned about it. Say, start explaining. He said, no, Gurudev, you explain. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was explaining, and he was glorifying the Brahmananda. And at one point he said, wait, what are we doing? We're glorifying Brahmananda. No, that's not our goal. We have to glorify Shivananda, service to the Lord, because that is much higher. Brahmananda is also higher. But you have to remember this, that Shivananda, service to God, 1,000 trillion, according to Prabhupada's translation. 1,000 trillion times much more happiness than Brahmananda. It's all hierarchy of Ananda. There are some homeless I saw in Calcutta many 40 years back. Some homeless, they live in a like a really shacks, like there is no house, nothing on the road in Calcutta. And one little cloth blown away by the wind, and he's lamenting. So another rich man gave a bigger chadar, and he was so happy. So we thought of testing him. So we said, are you happy? He said, yes, very happy. Today is my greatest joy in life. So I said, why? He doesn't have a house. He has a little like a cloth made on the pavement, what do you call walk on the path. But because little bigger chador came, he covers it very nice. Even though it's raining, still the rain goes inside, but he feels very happy because he got bigger chador. So how do you explain him that to have $1 million luxury 5-star hotel owner enjoying much more than him? Very difficult. For him, it's like inconceivable. But 5-star hotel owner is not thinking, yeah, this is nothing. I need something higher. Mothers, don't take it wrong way, but Prabhupada said something. If you take the most beautiful girl from this world to heaven, she will look like an ugly frog. And if you take the most beautiful girl from heaven to Vaikuntha, she will look like an ugly frog. So we cannot imagine how complete, sweet, beautiful spiritual world is. There's no comparison. Just have to have a trust and faith. And of course, our experience will lead us eventually.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Another small question, Prabhu. Maybe it might sound like Mayavadic philosophy, but I wanted to ask you, Prabhu. See, for example, there is a piece of marble stone. You cut into half, and one half is made like a Krishna's murti, and you start worshipping it every day. And the other half is still lying as a stone, and we call it like a stone. And this half is worshipped every day, offered bhoga every day. So, how to understand that, Prabhu? How to connect that and understand it? You got my question, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah, both are like two small pieces. One half is just carved into like Krishna's shape. Immediately it's becoming God. The other half is just like stone. So it could be like Mayavadic philosophy, I might sound, but I wanted to understand.
No. That's not Mayavadi philosophy. Prabhupada actually said that when this material world is like a dry wood, one discussion he said, and the day you can carve the dry wood into a deity, your material ultimate success of spiritual is done. So in one sense, we are all trying to create a deity from our life. In that sense. Question is how the deity manifests.
Yeah. How do we connect to also that one? So
how the deity manifests. This is very important. There is a conversation you can read in Veda Base. Sandy Nixon, one person came to Prabhupada, and I'm paraphrasing, and that person says, one of the most difficult aspects of Krishna consciousness process of a stranger is accepting the temple deity as God. Could you talk about it? He asked to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, yes, currently, because you have not been educated to see Krishna. See, this is a key point Prabhupada writes. You have not been educated about Krishna. He appears kindly before you so you can see him. This is the attitude you have to have. You can see wood, you can see stone or marble, but you cannot see spiritual. Suppose her father is in hospital and dies. You are crying at your head, saying, now my dad is gone. But why does he say he's gone? What is that gone means? Then the Sandy Nixon said, well, that's a spirit. Then Prabhupada asked, have you seen that spirit? And Sandy Nixon says, no. Srila Prabhupada says, so, cannot see the spirit. God is the supreme spirit. In reality, he is everything, spirit and matter, but you cannot see it in your spiritual identity. Therefore, you should thank God that he is unlimited mercifully, he appears in a form that we can perceive. I mean, Krishna is in your heart, it's true, but we cannot perceive. So we have to learn the art, how to see him. And we pray, then he will reveal to himself. Otherwise, marble will stay as a marble. Just because somebody carving a marble into a deity form doesn't mean it's a Krishna. It is our connection with Shuddha Sattva, where Lord reveals. At that time, you invite the Lord to come and take bhoga and your worship. Then he will take over this marble deity as his own form.
Understood. Understood.
It's a very scientific. It makes sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is because every year I have this question whenever I see a shop, there are so many hundreds of deities in the shop, or when we see these Ganeshas which are made in India, I always get this question. There is a pile of sand, mud. Some of them are made into idols. Some of them are just lying there. So I was trying to always understand the difference of which one you connect and which one you don't. Okay.
We have to remember all the statues in the shop are not deity. Only when you invite the Lord through your bhakti to accept your service, through your devotion, the Lord will reveal himself through that deity. Then it becomes Supreme God. Otherwise, no.
So whether you do a proper installation or not, like a temple, even though at home you bring a murti, still with love and affection, if you invite, God comes through that one.
Yes.
Okay.
In Krishna Balaram temple, Vrindavan, see, sometime I wonder, you know Maluti Devi, Mother Maluti, she's still alive. Very nice mother. I communicate with her sometime, and she sent me details. You know, she is just a regular hippie in 60s when she met Prabhupada. And she didn't even have money. Some way or other, she stole a doll, Indian doll, from a corner store in San Francisco. And she brought to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, as soon as saw it, Prabhupada paid obeisances. He said, "This is God, Jagannath." She said, "Oh, really?" Now she has no sukriti, no piety, but trusted Prabhupada's word. Prabhupada was so powerful that he could infuse bhakti, faith in the heart of that girl. She also bowed down. And Prabhupada said, but he cannot be alone. There must be two more. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra generally. So she went there. Eventually they got all three. Since that time till today, she always pay obeisances to the deity, accepting that as God. Now, a lot of Indians, even in America, when I mention few deity story, they're like dumbstruck, like, would I do that? Yes, devotees can infuse faith, then we will do it. This hippie girl, Mother Malati, she's a very advanced soul. She's still alive and doing a lot of preaching. Her and her husband, same. Shyam Sundar Prabhu also. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, early, late 60s, they joined. Early, one of the early member, pioneer, I would say. He used to be a chain smoker, but he was a sculptor. One time he was making, Prabhupada told him, try to carve a Jagannath deity like this. So he's carving, and a head on the top of the Jagannath's head, he put his cigar and he's carving. He's not, Prabhupada is so loving. He never made them uncomfortable. Through his love, they still full faith dedicated. So when Prabhupada came and he saw this, Prabhupada picked up the cigar.
Prabhuji, sorry to disturb. I see one Mataji posted, it seems she's having high fever and she's asking your permission to log off from this one.
Sure,
so,
sure. We'll pray for you, Mother.
Yeah.
So
Hare
that
Krishna,
was
Prabhuji.
wonderful. Yes, Mother. Are you here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes,
Yes, Mother.
Prabhuji. Actually, I was down with fever, and since I couldn't control, I had vomited. I didn't want to intervene because you were in between a session. So I just wanted to take your permission so that I can go and clean the place. And
Everybody,
sorry,
please
Prabhuji.
chant one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra for her. So may Lord Krishna makes her happy, healthy, come back to normal. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. May Srila Prabhupada and Krishna will take care of you. Thank you, Mother.
Prabhuji. Dandavad, Prabhuji.
Dhanyavad, dhanyavad.
Dandavad.
Sorry, Mataji. We were asking questions and you had to stay back. Sorry, Mataji.
So I'll end here that Prabhupada did not tell or rebuked him. He picked up the cigarette packet and he said, do not let anything comes in between God and you. This little things should not be on your way. That's all he said. But the way is like a mother affection to a child. Since that day, he never smoked. But Prabhupada gave a, not like this. Prabhupada said, what you can do, you can reduce your smoking. If you are smoking 3 pack every day, do 1 pack every day. Then 1 pack every 3 days. 1 pack every 7 days. Slowly, slowly you give up. Prabhupada gave a formula like this. We are not condemning anybody because we all have anarthas. But bhakti is very powerful. It can help us to go away from all anarthas. Thank you, Prabhu, for asking us such a nice question.
Thank you.
So we'll end here today. We'll see you on Wednesday.